we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 236 years ago, those words ignited a revolution that changed the world forever and brought forth the greatest nation in the history of civilization. Today, we gather in the capital city of that great land as conservatives from all across this great nation to proclaim that we still hold these truths. And in keeping with this year's theme, the American Conservative Union Foundation decided that they would have the first ever essay contest. Open to any registrant of CPAC, the challenge was to write a 5-minute speech on why we still hold these truths. And the grand prize was the opportunity to present that speech from this main stage of the largest gathering of conservatives in the country. In a conference long dominated by the younger and brighter people of the conservative movement, it should be no surprise that out of the more than 50 entries, the one selected as the winner this year was from a student. Signè Thomas is a student at Florida State University. Go Noles. Where she is pursuing multiple degrees, a BS in economics and mathematics, and a BA in international relations. She sports a 3.98 GPA, which means I think she got a B once along the way. She's active in the College Republicans, in Phi Beta Kappa, and her career goal is to be an on-air personality with Fox News or Fox Business. So Roger Ailes, if you're listening this morning, please join me in congratulating and welcoming this year's winner of the first annual CPAC Essay Contest, Signè Thomas.
It is an honor to be here today with all of you, and I'd just like to say thank you to the ACU for selecting me to speak to you all today. And I'd also like to give a shout out to all the college conservative students in the audience. Who else is missing class today to be at CPAC this weekend? Who else is missing class? Thank you all for coming. Thank you so much. We all know this presidential election is very important for the future of our country. We have come to a crossroads. Will we continue down the path towards socialism and give up our free market economy to become more like countries in Europe with centralized governments? As Abraham Lincoln once said, America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not too late. We could choose a different path to renew our country to be the great nation that our founding fathers created, by renewing our commitment to the principles on which this country was founded. We can still take our country back. All we need to do is inform the American people of why it is that we as conservatives still hold these truths. We want to preserve and conserve our liberties and freedoms that we are so blessed to have as Americans. And in order to do so, it is our responsibility as citizens to make sure the electorate is informed of why we still hold these truths. First and foremost, we as conservatives believe in a constitutionally limited government. That is what sets America apart from other nations. In the United States, we as citizens aren't given rights by the government. We're given rights by our Creator. The government, on the other hand, does not have rights. The government only has the power in which we, the people, have given it in our Constitution. That means our Constitution limits what the government is able to do. This is the key element of liberty. To quote Thomas Jefferson, "A government big enough to give you everything you want is big enough to take away everything you have." Our founding fathers believed in the importance of a constitutionally limited government, and as conservatives, we still hold this truth today. Secondly, we as conservatives still believe in the importance of individual liberty. Individuals know what is best for themselves and their family, which is why we as conservatives believe in having a limited government. We the people know what is in our own best interest, and government can't decide this or provide it more efficiently. I am so lucky to attend Florida State University because it has such a pro-free market economics department. An entire econ class was based on Milton Friedman's Free to Choose TV and book series. Friedman outlines the importance of individual liberty. Government regulations only hurt entrepreneurs who are trying to expand their businesses. Government regulations, along with high taxes, kill jobs and end up hurting the very people that many government subsidies seek to help, those who are unemployed and underemployed. Individuals should be free to choose what is in their own best interests. Our founding fathers believed in the importance of individual liberty, and as conservatives, we still hold this truth. Third, we as conservatives still believe in the significance and importance of a free market economy. We understand that the private sector, by its very nature, is able to operate more efficiently than government. This means that governments operating using a command economy or centralized government planning can never be as efficient as one operating under the free market economic system. In Frederick A. Hayek's article, The Use of Knowledge in Society, he explains that this is not a question of whether there should be planning within an economy, but rather it is a question of whether this planning should be done by a few government officials or dispersed amongst all the members of society in the form of a free market economic system. Hayek argues that the answer lies in where the knowledge originates. For example, a consumer knows what he or she wants to buy and how much he or she is willing to pay for that good or service. An entrepreneur knows how much he can set the price for that good or service while still being able to make a profit and being competitive enough in order to get the consumer's business. Therefore, in a free market economy, this invisible hand, as Adam Smith coined the term, works to set the price at the market price. If politicians just understood economics better, they would realize that a government that governs least governs best. Our founding fathers understood the importance of a free market economy, and as conservatives, we still hold this truth. Fourth, we as conservatives believe in preserving traditional values. One traditional value that we still hold to be true is our moral and family values. Each generation has worked hard to ensure that the next generation is left better off. Will we be able to say the same for our children, or will our children be left paying the debt that this generation's government has spent, totaling to be over 15 trillion deficit? We have a moral obligation to get this country's finances back in order. Another traditional value that we still hold true is self-reliance. This is the concept of being responsible for oneself, one's family, one's community, and neighbors. It is not the government's job to provide everything for us. We don't mind having our taxes go toward a form of a safety net for those who really need it to get back up on their feet. However, our tax dollars are not meant to be a form of redistribution of wealth. Another traditional value that we as conservatives still hold to be true is citizenship, the responsibility that we all have as citizens to obtain knowledge in order to stay informed and make a good decision when it comes to voting in the election. We also have the responsibility as citizens to hold our government officials accountable, as well as the mainstream biased media so that conservatives get a fair coverage and that the record is not distorted. Our founding fathers knew the importance of these traditional values, and as conservatives, we still hold this truth. Last, but certainly not least, we as conservatives still believe in a strong national defense. The USA fights for the cause of liberty and to protect our citizens, our country, and our freedoms. We need to stand strong with our allies, not bow down to foreign dignitaries, and certainly not be lenient with our enemies. Freedom doesn't come free. If it weren't for the brave men and women in our armed forces that are fighting to protect our rights, they would have disappeared long ago. America is known as being the land of opportunity, and this is because of those brave individuals willing to lay their lives on the line so that the rest of us can have the freedom of the press, freedom of speech and religion, individual liberty, choice, and property rights. I'd like to take a moment right now to thank all the veterans and active duty servicemen and women in the audience today. If you will, please stand up so we can applaud your valor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your sacrifices that you've made in order to serve our country. You all are what make America exceptional, and as conservatives, we have not forgotten this. Our founding fathers believed in a strong national defense, and as conservatives, we believe that a strong USA military makes for a safer global world, and we still hold this truth. I conclude with a quote by Ronald Reagan. "Freedom is a fragile thing and is never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by inheritance, but must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. Those who have known freedom and have lost it have never known freedom again." Fellow conservatives, we cannot let our freedom be taken away. Our veterans have done their duty in fighting to preserve our freedoms. But we as citizens of the United States must do our part as well. Abraham Lincoln once said, to sin in silence when they should protest makes cowards of men." This means that we as citizens of the United States have an obligation to inform others of the importance of our founding principles and why these principles are the keys to America's success. And thus why, as conservatives, we still hold these truths. It doesn't matter what your race, gender, background, or ethnicity is. Conservatism is in the best interest for everyone. We know that in order to save America from continuing to this path of socialism and from our Washington, D.C.'s unsustainable spending problem, we need Obama out of office and true conservatives in office. That is why, in November, we must get out the vote to ensure our nation doesn't continue down this progressive path towards socialism. Conservative policies rooted in the principle and traditional values set forth by our founding fathers are the keys to America's success and on getting America back on the right track. And as conservatives, we still hold this truth. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Al Cardenas, Chairman of the American Conservative Union.